right, welcome back to the Big Saturday Show. But you have to be in jail before you can break out, and we've just ended that. So New York's crime crisis is only getting worse. So how do lawmakers, though, plan to address the situation? Change the laws by swapping the term inmates in favor of the more, quote-unquote, dignified incarcerated person. Governor Hochul saying the reason is all about the feelings, saying, quote, by treating all New Yorkers with dignity and respect, we can improve public safety by ensuring New Yorkers have a fair shot at a second chance. You know, it's fascinating here because the people who are not being treated with dignity, Andy, or with any kind of respect are the people who aren't criminals, are the average person who has to deal with these individuals. A small percentage of people commit most of the crime, and they're constantly out. There was one revelation that something like 10 people were committing like hundreds of percentages amounts of the crime as they kept going through the revolving doors. Do you think this has really any genuine impact on the nature of trying to change the attitude toward crime, or is this just making it worse? And why would they do that if it's making it worse?
It goes to show that we're insane.
Oh, there we go.
I am happy that we're still allowed to say jail.
Yes.
Maybe when we come back tomorrow, we'll have to see if that's still okay. But, you know, look, prison is a lifetime achievement award for crime, as Heather McDonald has put it, and brilliantly. The people who are in prison tend to be recidivist offenders.
Right.
Rafael Mangual has just written a book about this whole decarceration movement. Mm-hmm. And when you look at serious criminals, what you find is again and again and again, they've been in the system. So, you know, so far being called inmates hasn't upset them so much that they don't want to go back. So at least, you know, there's that part of the experiment. But the idea, if you're sitting from the perspective of the criminal and crime is surging, and what the government is worried about is how we address in terms of how we call people who are in prison, rather than, you know, maybe we need more inmates, frankly, because when we had more inmates, lo and behold, we had less crime.
Now, speaking of that, let me tell you a few numbers here regarding the increase in crime. Overall crime is up just over 30%, while the murder rate, again, this is in New York, while the murder rate has increased by over 34%. And so when we think about what Hochul's point is, Jackie, the issue of language matters, because what we're doing is in some ways romanticizing or elevating or embracing, frankly, the worst among us, at the expense of the quality of life of everyone else. We can't figure out really why, because if you are like a low-end criminal or first-time criminal, you're going to have a plea bargain. There's so many other programs to get you through so you're not going to prison. What's your take on the goal of this language changing in particular when it comes to how we view each other and what we're trying to do?
I'm not really sure what Governor Hochul's goal is here. The only thing I can surmise from this is that somehow it's a distraction from what's actually happening. The fact that she has chosen this moment in time, the New York Post out, to sign this no inmate bill is just astounding to me. I'm going to add some stats to the ones that you just read there. Those were New York City specifically. Governor Hochul, did you know that Syracuse's jump in shootings was 23%, in Binghamton 80%, in Troy 100%, and murders have tripled? That's what's happening in the state of New York. It's bad here in New York City, but it's bad all over.
And wouldn't we say,
we are worried about the criminals.
And this kind of action, Sean, in fact, seems to encourage this. We're seeing this increase, and you wonder why. Perhaps it's this kind of action.
I want to stigmatize crime. Crime is bad. You don't want to be a criminal, so I want to stigmatize it. That's a good thing in society. But also, Governor Hochul wants to respect criminals. The very people who didn't respect their victims, that raped, killed, robbed, burglarized their community, they didn't have respect for anybody, but we're supposed to respect them? Hell no. Throw them in jail, call them what they are, and maybe you get, to Andy's point, less of it.
Maybe people will stop doing it.
Yeah, when we've seen that
like the stigma.
With punishment, and again, with those who are repeat offenders, but even those with domestic violence, the impact on women, all these Democrats, we're worried about the women. All of this affects women across this country. It's a remarkable dynamic.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.